Okay, we're back. And next up we have Nettle Bank Ranch by bearforlife73. So let's take a look at what he said on the forum here. So white tees just wanted to step out of my comfort zone with this one. Wanted people to feel like they're playing in beautiful big sky country. So there we go. Oops, I gotta edit the stream here. All right. So, um, oh, we got cars in the parking lot. It advances. And some pretty large grass as well. Okay, so right, so I'm playing with again with the 281 driver on master difficulty, no scout cam, no follow cam. So let's see what we got here. So um, first hole is a medium to long par four. We got some centerline bunker action. It looks like there's kind of like a ravine down on the right, so presumably going left is the safer play. Curious to see how the green kind of works with that. And when I get a red tempo, yeah, I definitely don't have to. Got a nice little Patrick Reed drive there, 277. Okay, so again, I hit a really short drive. It looks like if I went a little further, I'd be on that little plateau there, and I'd have a nice view of the green. So I'm not gonna fault Bear for he's definitely not trying to hide the green on me or anything. That's just me hitting a lousy drive. All right, and we didn't quite get all of that, so we ended up in the bunker. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so that back right pin definitely like you're definitely screwed if you try and take the shortcut down the right, right? You see how if you play right of that center line bunker, that feels like you're taking the risky play off the tee and you don't have a shot. But maybe you actually want us playing out to the left on that one. Could be. So and it looks like the green kind of falls off behind. Again, I kind of feel like this green site, it doesn't. I was saying this a bit on the last playthrough. It feels like the land naturally just kind of flows down towards that ravine, and the green slopes away from the ravine, and there's a fall off back there. Um, it feels a little unnatural. Okay. Yeah, Charlie mentioned the grass. When you put really big grass and it's right behind the tee, it shows up in the cut scenes. It can look a little it can look a little weird. I'm not saying it's that big a deal, but so here we've got this big field of rough with then it's kind of obscuring the bunker there, and then you've got this stream cutting across, and you can't really see it. The other thing I'll point out is you've got this gigantic grass. It goes from huge, really tall grass to just mown rough. Um, so I think it's good to kind of taper down the size of your rough. So you probably didn't need to make that grass that big on the left, and then use some little bit patches of multi-plant grass on the edge so it transitions a little bit better into the mown heavy rough. Okay, yeah. So I think with this one we kind of have to just take it over the bunker there and try and fit it in there, because I can't carry it over here, so I basically I have to play down the left here. And we'll just pull it into the woods. Yeah, I mean, I don't think streams are like being able to see a stream is not always going to be possible because it's below the level of the surrounding land. So I'm not going to say you have to be able to see it perfectly, but maybe if you have some sort of hint that it's there um, visually, that can be helpful. Alright, I think we're just gonna smash 3 wood and hope it clears. Alright, now I don't know what's going on with my tempo. Because that didn't feel like a very fast. Oh great, we get to drop it right behind the tree, nice. Alright, I think we gotta hit a big hook with a pitching wedge here. Alright, so obviously the way I'm playing this hole does not really give any sort of insight into how well designed it is, so I apologize for that. Little Bubba pitching wedge around the tree. Okay, so I assume there's no pin down in that little area where the red is, so I'd probably make a little more gradual slope down that way. Like in that little front portion. I think the creek looks okay from green side. You might want to plant alongside it a little bit. Because just kind of like the base texture there doesn't look great. I think the lighting is pretty good. I mean, we're playing down lighting these first few holes, so doesn't necessarily show it off wonderfully, but no, it's still okay. Alright, so, I mean, I don't know if you saw that cutscene, but I'm not going to pan around to it, but it looked like some very weird sculpting. Remember that I think it's good to kind of check how things look when you're looking back at your tee boxes, because that's going to show up in cutscenes. Otherwise, I think this green site looks pretty nice. It's just kind of across this little valley. It's framed nicely by bunkers. Good job with the backdrop. Okay, so this is kind of a this kind of reminds me of Bay Hill 17 almost. Just like really long and the green is like really shallow. It's not quite that. It's more playable than Bay Hill 17, but kind of reminiscent of that. All right, we hit a good shot. Didn't quite have the club, but you got that little backstop to help you if you're going for the front left pin. Yeah, I think this is a really solid hole. Now I said solid since I asked Matt F to take a drink. I take a drink whenever Matt F says that, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Oh, we made a birdie. I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, I think I took a drink of wine before I finished my stroke. All right. Yeah, so this grass looks a little. I don't know if it's the same size as what you're using before, but it looks a little more realistic. Um, and now we've kind of turned into the sun, so the lighting shows this off a little better. But like just compare the last two tee shots visually to the second tee, and it's like night and day. Um, I think not to go off on a tangent here, but I do think like when people see that, it can be easy to just like elevate every tee and then lower the land in front of every landing area, and you end up kind of making the same type of landform on every hole. So you got to be careful to guard against that. But I think this looks pretty nice. Okay. So let's see where we can put this driver. Well, it looks like we're gonna run into that thing, that little cluster of looks like a couple bunkers with a bush in front of them. So let's maybe play out to the right. Oh, it's not just a bush, it's a tree. This is kind of the Gozer Ranch hole, isn't it? I guess I should have paid a little more attention off the tee because I thought I couldn't tell that that was a tree. Obviously, in real life, I would be able to tell that, but one of those things that got tricked by the scout cam again. I mean, it makes sense, in terms of an in-play tree, it makes sense. I'll give him that. Sit. A little too much on that one. Yeah, again, I'm gonna kind of ding you here. This sculpting it looks like you're fighting the land here, right? See how it looks like you got that valley off, well, to the right of this shot, but to the left of the hole, and then you make this big mound and to put a bunch of bunkers in it, and then the green slopes the other way. Um, Again, just kind of looks unnatural. I think it's other. I mean, I think it's this hole has quite a bit going for it, but again, just kind of watch out for those sort of things that like it takes a lot of care to make things look natural. It's harder than it looks. Thanks for the clip, Ben. Okay, so this hole's over a little more ordinary land, so it's never going to be as dramatic as the last two, but maybe you could sculpt those bunkers on the right, the fairway bunkers there just a little bit. Kind of just it doesn't have to be crazy, but just some subtle raises, kind of around the inside edge to kind of give it a little more visual drama. Again, don't overdo it. It's really easy to overdo it. It's probably worse to overdo it than to do what you did, but just that the little things like that can make a difference. Another Patrick Reed drive. I got the PXG driver in the bag. All right. So this one's uphill. I'm not sure this is gonna get me all the way to the pin, but I can't club up here. Okay, so this hole just strategically doesn't really score for me. Right, you got those bunkers on the right, right, and if you take those on, look at what you're giving us, right? Especially, I'm imagining you've got some pins toward the front there. Um, I think if you made some changes to the green site here, that could make the hole a little more interesting. All right, so we got a center line bunker here, but I mean this par 5 is pretty unreachable for me. So, I mean, that's downhill, but and again, that's not like a criticism at all, because like if you have a longer driver, you can totally get there. Well, actually no, it probably is. It's downhill. It's just going to be tough for me to fit a drive in that into the left there, but we got to give it a shot. Because it's either hit it into trouble and lay up, or play it safely and lay up. So, might as well go for it. Oh. Alright, so we didn't make it, so we'll lay up. Alright, so I'm hoping that laying up close to that big bunker there is going to give us some kind of advantage. We'll see. Oh, jeez. Okay, so looks like you got a big false front kind of at the front left there. Alright, now my tempo is officially, like, that was not a very fast swing. Okay, so yeah, you're really in trouble if you bail left here. That makes perfect sense. Definitely not an easy green on this par 5. Yep, this is definitely the widest fairway we've seen by far, Charlie. After all that, we made a par. Okay. So now we've got this really big kind of Pete Dye style waste bunker, sort of. It's not really a waste bunker, but really big bunker. It seems like you can try and make this really long carry. Obviously, I can't with the club set I'm using. This is one where I think the low sun angle kind of hurts it a little bit. I've seen worse for sure, but it's not as nice as say like I think it was like the fourth hole, that short par 4. All right, so we just had two very fast, and then we get a perfect. Normal sport. All right. So we've got this little flip wedge into this green. I think when I look at it from up here, I think it actually looks pretty handsome. Um, this hole does kind of feel very much kind of just station to station though. If you can't make that carry there just like perfectly, which I mean, I guess if like if you're a plat player, that's probably a good challenge to present, because they'd be looking to make eagle here. Now this is downwind though, so this is going to be too much club. I like how I'm like making adjustments to my swing, and then I just like have garbage tempo, so it doesn't matter at all. Okay, and so the green kind of feeds right to left, right? So that back left pin is, a bit more of a red light pin. So if you kind of play out to the right, you're gonna have a really quick putt. Um, I think on a short hole like this where you're hitting wedge in there, I think you kind of gave us a whole lot of room. You gave us more room than you needed to, I think, on this hole. Um, right, maybe like to those left pins, I feel like there's a bigger margin for error um, than is necessary given the length of the hole. I don't think it tests like precision with the wedges as much as it could. Okay, so we got like sort of a semi-blind par 3. Um, you might maybe make those front bunkers, since they're like obscuring the green. Maybe make them a little more visually dramatic. Like you might just make one larger bunker or something. Maybe have them come down the hill a little more. Again, just to give us something to look at. Oh, and it's only 134, so I don't know. We'll see what the green looks like, but from here the shot feels a little trivial, almost, which I know is I'm walking into a huge trap here by saying that. Okay, so what's going on with the green? So you kind of got this high right side, high back right. You got this little bowl in the front, and then you got that little plateau in the back. I think that makes sense. Not the most terrifying 9-iron wet pitching wedge shot I've ever seen, but they don't all have to be. Is it a signature par 3? No, not really. But again, like I think what I mentioned about the bunkering, that could at least help it visually a bit. All right, back to back. Okay, so now again, kind of a flatter hole, heading back towards the clubhouse here. It's 54 feet uphill, and you've got all these bunkers here, and I don't really feel like I can see them. I wonder if it would make sense if the tee shot landing area were a little lower, and you could kind of like just have like kind of this echelon of these like echelon bunkers kind of coming up the way there. If you look at well, it's not 18 anymore. I think it's 14 at Banff Springs. That's kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. Maybe 9 at Riviera. Yeah, and again, that was a pretty weak drive, so I'm not gonna critique the visual here too much. Um, that green shape, this green shape is kind of squared off, which we really haven't seen up to this point. I don't know, feels a little out of place. Yeah, look, I mean the clubhouse looks fairly well done. I'd have maybe not used the same house so many times. But I think the big thing is that there's just like nothing around it. Um, it's just like grass and clubhouse. Again, I'm not like kind of like what I was saying on the last playthrough. You don't have to go nuts with landscaping on off-course objects, but if it's right there in front of you, and people are gonna see it when they're playing, you want to pay attention to that stuff. Oh, we didn't get there. All right, an uneventful front 935. Okay, so the back 9, we're heading out towards the lake here. I'm intrigued to see what that's going to bring us. Um, maybe, I don't know, like I would probably cut down some of these trees behind the green because like you've got this beautiful overview of the lake. You don't really want trees blocking that. Otherwise, this could be like a signature view of the course, you know. Um, all right, so what do we want to do now that we actually have to play a golf shot? I think I'm probably just gonna bunt one back in the fairway, maybe. What do we got? 324. It's downhill though. Yeah, let's hit driver. Yeah, let's check out that bunker. Okay. So as I expected, there's a big fall off to the right. That works. You know, if you try and be aggressive off the tee and you miss left, you've got that fall off to deal with if you go long. I don't think we made it to the green. All right, bunker to bunker. Now let's see if we play some ping pong here. Yeah, I mean, I think this green works. It's again this. I'd say the sculpting looks just a tad unnatural. I think it doesn't look too bad. But I feel like that line is a little too. It looks very artificial. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to necessarily critique this too heavily because I do think it works as a green site for sure. Oh, we managed. I think I'd argue that's probably the best of the short par fours so far. Um, Again, I thought the look off the tee had potential. The green site makes sense. Yeah. All right, so now we got a really wide open fairway. Long par four, dog leg left. All right, good. We've been getting red fast, so let's try some slows. All right, again, that was largely due to the weak drive I hit. That it doesn't look. We don't have a nice view into the green, so I'm not really gonna say anything about that. Again, I'll go through playing on pro difficulty for sure when I'm judging when I'm doing judging rounds. Okay, so we got like the sort of double false front action here. I don't know, the front of that green looks maybe a little well protected for such a long par four. And like this like left-hand shelf here with the fall off over it. I'm guessing you have a pin on the left side there again. I think that's maybe a bit much for this long a hole. All right, yep, thanks, Ben. Okay, so now we're down by the lake. Looks like we've got sort of like is this like an irrigation pond here, I guess, that came into play on that other hole we'd played already. Another long par four, up the hill this time. Man, my tempo just won't cooperate. Yeah, again, I think the water here is very weird because you see how it slopes away from it. The land slopes away from it, so like the pond is at a high point. I understand. Like I've played courses with where the irrigation pond is like weirdly kind of at a high point. You do see it, but it still looks weird, and I always notice it when I'm playing. And then we kind of got more of this sort of Pete Dye style, large bunker guarding this, and I don't know. I feel like it's been that this type of bunkering's been applied very inconsistently up to this point. We've seen it maybe a couple times. Um, it seems like it's a little. sometimes they just kind of show up randomly, and I don't know if, well, not randomly. Obviously, you had a reason to use it, but I feel like I would have run with that theme a little more if you were gonna do it. I mean, I think in terms of how you used it here, it makes total sense. You've got, it's guarding the green on a long par five. There are plenty of classic Pete Dye par fives where you see that type of thing. This green is awfully large. Um, I mean, I guess in a way it's a little bit like 15 at Oakmont, like really really deep with that deep bunker on the right guarding all the way down it. Oh, that was pretty bad. All right, so now we got a par three playing this backdrop with the water there. 153 downhill. I believe we call this the B101 template in the pithy Dr. G household. All right, I think we're gonna have to hope this carries because a 9-iron's too much. No, didn't quite make it. Ooh, front to back green, that's pretty tough. I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think there's, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It kind of, it does sort of fit with the land going down to the water there. Yeah, I'd say this is probably my second favorite of the par threes. I think that first one was probably the best, my favorite, but I'd say this one's probably second best so far. Got bailed out by the flagstick there. And now we're playing right alongside the lake. It feels like the land is maybe just a little bit low. Like I don't think you need to raise it that much, but maybe just a couple feet, because it looks like if it rain if you get like a big thunderstorm coming through here, or like if it rains for a couple weeks straight, this hole's underwater. But yeah, I think it would look better if the land was just, again, not a ton, but like maybe 2.5 feet raised up a bit. All right, let's see what should we do here. Probably red tempo into the water. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Oh, there it is. I thought I was gonna just max out hitting drive after drive into the water. And obviously it's so short, so you feel like you have to go for it. But like, especially when the pin's on the left, you're probably gonna have a very uncomfortable putt. I don't know. I think design-wise, this hole works. Have I played better short par fours? Yeah, but I mean, I still think it works. Yeah, so again, kind of now we're kind of just doing the same thing on the second straight hole. Maybe you don't want to do this on like back to back. I'm not saying you can't. You can have two holes playing along the same body of water with it on the same side. It's not the end of the world. I might have made this a longer hole because it's like another short par four. Admittedly, this isn't drivable, but just, another thing to consider. And my same critique of the last hole holds for this one in terms of how the land should kind of interact with the lake, I think. Okay, and now we got a par three. Let's see what's going on behind it. I'm not sure. It's just kind of grass there, maybe. This is kind of do or die, isn't it? All right, we put a good swing on it. It's gonna go long, but again, yeah, like squared off green site here. The squared off green shape. I saw that on one other hole, so I'm not really sure, you know, what the idea is there. It looks like I guess we're kind of coming up on the edge of the plot here. I might have, maybe you felt the need to kind of obscure the back of the green there with the grass, just because otherwise we'd see the edge of the plot. I'm not sure. Otherwise, I feel like you could do a little better with the backdrop to the green with the hole in this setting instead of just a wall of tall grass beyond the two bunkers. Oh man, I think the shadows really the shadows really do us a disservice on this tee shot. So we got a par five up the hill. Um, yeah, and I think this alley on the left just looks. I mean, I know I can't reach it with my driver, but it's uphill. I'm guessing it's kind of like, yeah, if you have a 295 driver, you can hit it. But I mean, this hole is definitely designed for an easier difficulty than I play on. Um, obviously that is not an option for me. All right, what do we got in here? 247 up the hill. Okay, I think I can. I think I might just bash the driver because it doesn't look like. I mean, okay, I'll have a bunker shot if I don't get there. That looks like we're in the short grass. Yeah, this kind of feels like. maybe a little bit like Bethpage number 4 at Bethpage Black in terms of the green site. It's just like really shallow with a fall off beyond, and you can't. It's really hard to hold it. This one you do have the back to front though. So yeah, let's see we're on. Oh, this is 17. Okay, this is an 18. Gotcha. Because I was gonna say where's the clubhouse, but we're not on 18 yet. And that got killed by the slow. Well, I don't think you really get an angle either way. It's basically you just get a shorter second shot if you play left. So I don't know if I don't think angles are really kind of a factor here. All right, so here's 18. We got a long par 4 up the hill. This big, yeah, this looks odd. I feel like we haven't really seen anything like that before, and this is just, it feels very extra. Okay, and again, unfortunately, my crappy driving doesn't really tell me much about the visuals on this hole, but that's a me problem. Alright, so it looks like the green's kind of like an hourglass shape with a couple ridges dividing it up, I guess. Okay, so there you have it. I honestly I thought there was a decent amount to like about this one. I think it's probably, I think I haven't played all of his most recent designs, but I think it's probably my favorite bear course I've played. Right? I think the big, the big mountain lake, it gives it a real sense of place. This feels like a resort I could play in the Canadian Rockies or something, I think there were a few holes that just felt a little out of place, I guess. But I thought it had some really good holes too. And there were, I just had a few minor suggestions that I kind of scattered throughout the playthrough. Yeah, and I think the grass, you just got to be careful with using that giant grass, because there are places where you get really close to it, and it's not because I was playing badly. Like, anyone who's playing is going to be that close to it, and it just looked very big and not real. So you got to be careful with that. And then I think but I thought the holes generally sat on the land pretty well. There are a few that I pointed out that didn't necessarily make sense, but I've seen, I think a lot of these green sites are kind of a step up from your previous work. So yeah, I think you've made some positive steps as a designer, and hopefully you take some of this feedback in the spirit in which it's intended, and give us something good coming out. So with that, we shall call it a stream. Thanks for watching, everybody.